Brown is a celebrity hairstylist and business owner. She has over 12 years of experience in the beauty industry, working with highly influential women such as Kendall Jenner, Hailey Baldwin, Chrissy Teigen, Khloe Kardashian, Chelsea Handler, and Kristen Cavallari, to name a few. She continues to travel and do hair for weddings across the globe and actively participates in New York and Paris Fashion Week. Please welcome Alex Brown. All right, guys. So today we have Alex Brown. I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. I'm excited.
So the reason why I wanted to bring you on, well, for a variety of reasons, but I think when it comes to being like the top of your field, when I think of hair, I think of you. Like, I think you're the expert as, you know, you're the hair goddess.
Thanks.
Yes. And I think that you're more than, you know, you're an artist, you're an entrepreneur, you're all of these things. So I thought it was very important to have you on season 1. So
amazing. Thank you. That's so nice.
Of course.
Yeah. I'll let you talk.
Okay. So
I'll be doing a lot of that. Yeah.
So to start, I kind of just want to talk, and we've talked before, but I want the viewers to hear too, kind of your career, how it went, because you were in LA. I mean, you were working with all the heavy hitters, celebrities, and then you decided to take that move and come back to Chicago. So I kind of want to hear about your journey and how that all played out for you.
For sure. Yeah. So I grew up in a town of 116 people to be exact, in Minnesota, southern Minnesota, middle of nowhere. And I had always been the friend in the group that did everyone's hair and makeup. And I just always loved it from like a very young age. And I think a lot of hairstylists say that because I do think hairstyling and makeup comes natural to people. And that's why you have an interest in it. But I always wanted to go to college. All my friends were going into dorm rooms. And from where I'm from, hair salons were very like ma and pa shops. Not exciting, a lot of older people. Like I never thought it could be like a cool career, you know? All I saw was like the coolness of it to me was what I saw on MTV or like, you know, in magazines. And so I was always like, if I do this, like I really want to do it and move somewhere. And like that was always my dream from day one, was to get out of my small town, move to a bigger city, and like be the hairstylist that I wanted to create myself to be, you know, not that there's anything wrong with the hairstylist from my town, but I wanted so much more than just that. So yeah, I ended up going, my sister and I moved to Chicago right after I graduated high school, and I went to beauty school right away that September, and I went to beauty school in Chicago, graduated beauty school, and got a job at a high-end salon that was departmentalized. So I had to choose, do you want to learn cutting or do you want to learn color? I chose cutting. And to be honest, at the time, I didn't know much about hair cutting. Beauty school is so basic. You learned all the basics just so that you can pass your state exam. So I chose cutting mostly because I love styling so much. And I love styling hair up, down. Like I just love styling hair and I didn't want to give that up. So I didn't choose color. I went through the salon's training program. To become a stylist at that salon, you had to be an assistant. So I was an assistant there for these 2 guys for roughly 3 years. And that was when it was almost like a wake-up call, because the Gold Coast here in Chicago, it's like a whole different world compared to my hometown or compared to my beauty school. It was just a whole new world for me. And what to just see high-end clientele, to see what it is. And it was the best learning experience. I learned so much in those 3 years, just watching other stylists work. So eventually I graduated that program and became a stylist at that salon for about 3 years as well. While I was a stylist at the salon, I do think I grew my clientele quickly. I did extensions. I offered a bunch of different services and really tried to like get myself busy quickly.
So what do you think made you stand out and grow that clientele so quickly? Like what skills did you have?
You know what? I think the 3 years that I worked for these two guys that I assisted were and are very successful business just well-driven stylist, and it taught me to be that way. And I think my growing up with my family was like, I was taught to hustle, and that was just always in me, But I do think like I built a lot of relationships with my mentors, the two guys that I assisted with their clients. Like it was personal. Like I would blow dry their hair if they were booked and yeah, it was just really building my own clientele, doing whatever I had to do. But I do think like building relationships and being personable with the clients in the years that I assisted helped me a lot too.
And I think starting out too in any career, being able to have mentors like that, like finding the right people, even if it's a free internship, like finding the right people to teach and guide you is going to set the path for the rest of your career.
Totally. Yeah, I definitely think like they believed in my career more than I did in the beginning. Like they tried so hard to teach me things and like they wanted it for me. And looking back, I'm like, thank God they were like that. And it wasn't just like I was this assistant working for them. They really cared about me being good. And that was like the biggest compliment looking back,
So when did you make that jump to LA?
So I eventually was just kind of feeling like it was factory work. A bunch of girls from my salon were going to Jen Atkin's cutting class in Canada. And they were like, you should go. And I didn't really know much about Instagram at the time. I had a page, but it wasn't hair related. And so I decided to go. And I had always in the back of my mind wanted to move to LA and do celebrity hair. That's just always what I wanted. And so I had been thinking about it when they mentioned the class to me. And I thought to myself, like, wow, if I go to this class, I need to think of it as a way that I could possibly work for her, which sounds insane. But when I was stuck in here, was that, yeah, it totally did. And we went to the class. I spoke to her, Jen's assistant, on lunch break and said, how did you get this job? Like, I am dying to get a job like this. She was the coolest girl, so nice, got my info and was like, if you ever move to LA, let me know and I'll see if we need anyone. And I'm like, she probably says that to everyone. Like, yeah, right.
I would say, like, there are probably millions of people who would want that job.
Totally.
So I want to know how you got there and how you got that spot.
It really was like fate and luck, but I do think I put myself in the position. So I ended up moving to LA 6 months after that class. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I had always wanted to do it. I didn't see myself working at that salon for the rest of my career. Like I still wanted more, So I moved there and I tell this story all the time. It's like I was in FedEx printing off 50 resumes to bring to 50 salons. I didn't care where. I just needed a job.
Right.
And in the beginning, I wasn't going to be picky. It's like I just need a job to survive and pay my rent. So while the resumes are printing, I'm scrolling through my Instagram and like literally at that moment, that assistant commented on one of my photos and was like, hey, Alex, are you in LA? We need an assistant tomorrow. And it was crazy. It was literally like 4 days after I moved to LA.
Oh,
so
it's just like everything like falls into place.
It was just crazy. I left the resumes. I didn't even I ran out crying. I called my sister. I was freaking out because it was like those 3 years of being an assistant at that salon in Chicago totally got me ready for this moment. Like I was like, if I assist her, I know what I need to do. Like I can work hard, I can multitask, I can do whatever she says. Like I knew that if I got the opportunity, I could do it. And that just getting the opportunity was like, oh my gosh. But like I said, that salon prepared me for that opportunity. So the next day I assisted her. And from then it was like 3 years I assisted her and traveled the world and did celebrity hair. And it was the dream of like my dream in life, like was coming true. And it was just the craziest feeling.
And that's kind of what I want to talk about because I feel like you hit success. Like, I don't want to say so early, but it's like a lot of people have dreams and the dream can take your whole life. Like, totally. And your dreams change. But for example, like my dream when I was little was to be on Broadway. So I moved to New York to do the grind. And then that dream changed and shifted to the other side. But you moved to LA, you got to be at the top, work with the best, work with the celebrities. and you hit the ultimate success. But then my question to you is, what does success mean to you in life and in business? Because
Oh,
clearly
yeah.
you hit it, and then you made that decision, you know what, I want to move back to Chicago and start my own thing. So I just
Yeah.
want to hear kind of what success means to you.
I think I learned what success meant to me in those years. Like, to me, success was doing celebrity hair, being busy, like being booked,
Mm-hmm.
being, just go, 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 and just being this like badass hustler who could just do anything, do anyone's hair, do any style. It was like, that's what I thought it was. So then when I get the opportunity and I'm being put in these positions, I was feeling burnt out for sure. I was feeling like I wasn't fulfilled in a way that I thought I would be. Like, when I dream of like that life, I would have never thought that I didn't want it anymore, like, and yeah, I do think it happened very quickly for me. There are artists living in LA that have lived there for 20 years and never got to experience the
I
things
didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it that it
Oh,
happened
it's
quickly.
so
You
true.
put in the work and you hustled and you know, deserved it. So I did not
Totally.
mean it
But
like that.
no, I didn't even take it like that. But
Right.
I do think that it's crazy for me. And I do think that that is why maybe it just happened so quickly, and it was such a transition of like, holy cow, I'm in this. Like, I wasn't even really ready for it. You know what I mean? So I totally see that side of it. But yeah, success to me has totally changed. I mean, I really thought it was being that person. And when I was that person, I was not my happiest version of myself. Like,
And you just
success
hit
to
it,
me,
keep going, but you just hit it spot on, because I feel like happiness is what it is. And that's,
beyond, totally. And just, I think I'm realizing like success to me is like, I love making other people feel good. I love having balance in my life where like I can take care of myself and be healthy, but also still enjoy what I'm doing. I don't want to be, busting out 20 haircuts a day just because I'm busy. Like, that didn't make me happy. That makes me burnt out, and it makes me not good at my job. So I think success is just creating like a balance of, things that do make you who you are and make you happy. Yeah, 100%,
I love that. And it's important too for people to hear that, your goals and what is success can change over time. And that's, you were able to have that moment, and now you have this new moment, and this is what brings you joy in this time.
Yeah.
Which gets me to the next point. I want to hear about your new studio in Chicago. It looks stunning. I have to come in, but I just want to hear about the whole project. And
yeah, so I kind of was realizing when I moved back from LA, I knew that I wanted to work in my own studio. I had technically been an assistant for other stylists for 6 years. I wanted something for me finally in my career. And I was like, I'm not going to be on I don't want to be on anyone's watch, anyone else's schedule. Like, I really want to build a career for myself with no one else telling me where and what to do.
totally.
So I found a small studio space. At first I was doing house calls, and I was like, I'm just going to do house calls. That's not even realistic because you can only do like 2 people a day. So I found this small studio in the West Loop, and I made it into my own little mini salon almost. And I was realizing that so many stylists here were like, how, like, I want to work for myself, or like wanting to work. I think a ton of stylists have transitioned into the salon suites or the lofts. And I think with this time and technology, with all of the apps and scheduling programs and Square and things to check out your clients, it's so easy to run your own business. And I think people are realizing that. And I do think it's a more of a freelance world now. Like, it's more collaborative. I think it's kind of old school to have these like big high-end, run salons. I think that they definitely had their time, but I also found a very big competitive feel in them where it was like stealing clients, or I don't know, it just was not a good feeling when you look at like the new world of beauty, especially with Instagram. It's like we all really are interested in each other's work, and it's like at the end of the day, you can't choose your clientele, your clients choose you, you know? So that whole competitive world was something that I noticed a ton of stylists were wanting to get out of. So I created, it's called Space by Alex Brown, and it's just a freelance open space. I did choose artists to work in there, but they are freelance artists who work for themselves. I have no management involved. I barely go there because I don't want them to feel like I am like the owner. You know what I mean? It's like, I just wanted to create a beautiful space for them to take their clients with no one telling them how to be, you know?
I love
Yeah, so it is similar to like salon suites and things like that, but it's nice because you do get a salon feel. Like I think a lot of stylists, and myself included, I do miss, you know, having stylists around to talk to, or like I do work by myself, and I think people in salon suites would miss that a little bit too. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. Yeah, all the artists have their key and they come and go as they please, and it's been great so far. So that opened in June of last year.
I've seen it, you know, I saw it on Instagram. It's absolutely beautiful. So I have to
Thanks.
right away. So can you give some advice to young creatives who are looking to make it at the top of their field? Like, what would you say is?
Definitely. Yeah. I just think like, especially in the beginning of your career, it is so important to hustle and to put in the hours so that when you do get to this point that I'm finally at, and it felt like it took years to get here, and it did. I mean, I'm now 31 and my career started when I was 18, but 31 is still so young. To be able to just completely work for myself successfully is such a great feeling. So I wish I could have told, like, you know, 18-year-old me, like, these years are going to be hard, but they're so worth it at the end of the day, because it gets you to where you want to be. But I think just, you know, being an assistant, like being the underdog, just putting in like the physical and draining work will pay off. Mm-hmm. And it's so hard to, I remember people telling me that, and it was just like, oh, but when is it going to pay off? And right. I think just sticking through it and like really pushing through, it will totally pay off, you know?
I noticed for me at the beginning of my career, it was always the jobs that I hated the absolute most that I learned the most. Like the ones totally. I'm like, oh, I want to get out of here. But like then looking back, I'm like, that person taught me the most.
So true. Yeah. Because it's challenging, you know, and you just have to put yourself in those positions to get through it.
Right. But, and it's not just going to come overnight. You have to hustle to get there. And you're such a hustler. And that's why I needed you today. Okay. So moving along. Well, before we're going to play a game, but before we get there, I want to know what motivates you and inspires you.
I think a lot of things that inspire me, it's different now. Like I never knew what to say when, like I never knew the answer to that, what inspires you. It's like, now I truly feel like fashion and like certain style inspires me as far as hair. Obviously, like Instagram and TikTok and Pinterest inspire me so much. Like I could go down a creative rabbit hole on those, just looking at other people's techniques. Like we're so lucky to have those outlets to go to, because it did used to be just like Pinterest. But I just think like a individual style, like when I have a client come in and it's like their overall style, I get so inspired by like wanting to give them hair that matches their look, you know? Like I just love, I think just people individually and their styles are like my main inspiration.
That's so fun.
Yeah, there's so many things though. What was the other part of the question?
And I guess that kind of goes hand in hand, inspires and motivates you.
Yeah, and motivates. Yeah, and I think as far as what motivates me, it's like, I think that it's sort of annoying that I'm like this, but it's like, I just have always had it in me that like, I don't know, it's almost like when you're in sales, it's like when you can go and make money and like the more clients you have, the more money you're making. It's like that money does motivate me, I guess, but it's also, I don't know, it's just always been in me to just stay motivated. I don't know. It's like
to just keep hustling.
This drive, yeah.
Right. I love that. Okay, now we're gonna play a game. I do this on every segment called Make Waves, aka Spilling the Tea, where I want you to say the first thing that comes to your mind when I ask a question.
Okay.
So don't even think about it, just kind of blurt it out.
Okay.
And it's just fun. Okay, so here we go. Greatest single achievement in your career?
I wasn't even thinking. I would say assisting Jen Atkin.
Biggest inspiration? And I know we kind of touched on that, but maybe it's like one person or a place or a thing.
Gosh, I know. Biggest inspiration. Oh.
Like for me, mine's New York. Like,
I was just going to say, I instantly thought New York or LA. That's just where I feel inspiration. Yeah.
Favorite hairstyle?
Ooh. Favorite hairstyle? Doesn't matter the length. I just love lived-in messy hair, like that bedhead fuzzy. I just love that look. Kind of rough, you know.
And that made me think of something else. Not related to the game. I'm obsessed with your high ponytails, and I've never done like a real good high ponytail. So I need to.
Oh, thanks. That's a good style too. That's fun.
Best advice someone gave you?
Jen always said loose lips sink ships, and it's so true, especially with hairstylists. I just think like being professional and really keeping things that other clients say to yourself and not being that person that has to go and tell people is like the biggest, greatest characteristic I think someone can have is to
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And I guess in any business too, that's important.
So true, yeah.
Absolutely. Guilty pleasure?
Ice cream.
Same. Favorite spot in Chicago?
Ooh, Soho House. I just love it there.
I do too. Even though I just used all my credits because you know how they were closed for.
Same.
I used all my credits and bought stuff from like their home store.
Oh, nice. That's good. I spent mine on like margaritas, so it was just much better, more useful.
I wanted to use it at the spa, but the spa was still closed.
I know. I can't wait till they open.
Biggest splash you ever made in the industry?
That's so hard. I think coming back to Chicago is inspiring other people here that they can do what I did, and that feels like the biggest splash. Like that
opening up your own thing, like I think that's freaking awesome. So where can everybody follow you? And if they want to book hair appointments?
So my Instagram is Alex Brown Hair, and you can book on my website, alexbrownhair.com. And I'm on Facebook as well. Who's really on Facebook. I have a TikTok, but I need to get it posting. I am not good with TikTok yet, but I'm getting there.
I'm trying to learn.
But Instagram is like my main form of posting, I would say. So yeah, Instagram, Alex Brown Hair. My new salon is Space by Alex Brown, and that showcases all the other artists that work there, all of their work.
Well, thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you. This was so fun. It was so good to see you.
You too.